Gonna make the heat go boom, 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 boom. And my heat goes, what it is, you already know what it is. It's Gunner's Profiles. We're gonna keep it cracking, keep it smackulating. We're back at it like a smack at it. And in that fashion, menudo style, bang, bang, trip out. So who I wanted to profile today is a real one, another real one. See, there's not gonna be no fake ones on this channel. Okay, it's gonna be nothing but the really real, raw, uncut, no added preservatives. So I like my Kool-Aid sour. You know what I mean? By the hour. I do it like Tyreek in Power. Now trip out. K9, the Northside Fresno Pleasant Street Bulldogs. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about our relationship, what I know of this individual, what I've seen firsthand in a real way, in real life, right? And why he stood out amongst all the rest. To me, personally, you know, because I personally know this individual. So trip out. In a menudo style, let's get straight to it. You know, ain't nothing to it but to do it. You know what I mean? You can try to pursue it, but man, I knew it. You feel me? So look, K9, you know, Mr. Terry Ray. Trip out. The first time that I met this individual was in the California Youth Authority. Yes, CYA again, right? I pull up to Nellis, and I remember he stood out amongst the rest of the Norteños at this time. Yes, he was an F-14 Bulldog, and he stood out amongst the rest just based on he was a white boy. He was from white boy descent. Orale, Vikings, right? And I remember to this point not knowing many white Northerners, okay, or Norteños. Now, of course, over the years, it would become the normality. It would become normal. I would meet a lot of white homeboys, and I didn't consider them white, and I didn't consider the Africano ones black. I didn't see you for color. I seen you as a brother. I seen you as a Norteño, and the canalismo and the embracement was real. And that's how it was. So this individual was there, and I remember getting to the compa, Cleveland, and getting introduced to several individuals. Homeboys out of Hayward, homeboys out of Jolice, homeboys out of Tula County, Sanjo, and of course the Fresno, right? Now you got to understand at this time, this was pre the split in the California Youth Authority. The Bulldogs were still functioning under the Norteño umbrella. They still were homeboys. So he introduced himself as K9 de Fresno, Northside, and it was all good in the hood. And I remember initially I took to him. I liked him. I liked his stilo. I liked his get down. He didn't act any different than anyone else. He didn't try to act better. He wasn't trying to try. He wasn't going out of his way to try harder. And he had a little bit of respect on that compa. I guess prior to me getting there, he had been putting it down, and he had established himself and got the respect for having hands. Okay, I never had seen it first and foremost, so I couldn't call it like an alcoholic. But at the same time, I could only go by the stories that I was being told and by the looks people were giving him. And so I was scared. It was like, dude. They were looking down, right? Motherfuckers didn't want that static with young K9. So what happens over time is we begin to develop a relationship, a good friendship, and we just vibed, man. He used to tell good war stories. I used to tell good war stories. We used to go back and forth, and we were both younger. I think he had a couple of 2 to 3 years on me. So I kind of looked up to the individual, and I still do now as a man. There's never going to be that. There's never going to be like, I used to be my homie, now you act like you don't know me. Oh, we went into that, and we'll go into that. But trip out. So I admired this individual just for the way he carried himself, the canalismo that he showed me, the education he instilled in me, and all that. So we ended up getting moved to from Cleveland compa to Kennedy, right? This was to break in. This is what they were doing at that time. They were ragdolling the Norteños. The administration was. They were throwing us here and there to break in these new buildings so that way the Sureños that were there established already would become accustomed to functioning alongside Norteños. Okay, that didn't work out too great in our favor. But at the same time, it is what it is, and it was what it was. So I remember him pulling up with me, Porky de Fresno, Joy Boy de Fresno, Cisco de San Fran, and several other individuals, and we pull up to Madison. And of course, we rocked the house, right? Not necessarily did we win the fight, right? But we rocked the house, meaning we were down for whatever, and whatever came. Oh yes, there was a whole lot of whatever, right? I remember getting off in the day room. There was a melee that happened. A vato named Crook from Avenues came out. He acted like he was going to drink some water, and he turned around and he was like, you guys are just a bunch of custers, right? Only with the B. And he rushed, and we got off. And I remember him and K9 were going heads up. Now, he was an Africano vato from the Avs, man, and they were just getting it. Boom, 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 him and K9. That was the first time I was getting my issue on too. But that was the first time I was able to see K9 in action. I could see that he was knocking fools' heads back. He was handling his own. He was doing his thing. Of course, there were several people on them, you know, and I'm not going to say that we came up on top. You know, we came up short, to be honest with you. But we handled our business, and that's all that matters. The pull-up was real. We had no choice. We ended up getting sold up. See, at that time, there was a dorm, okay? And there were cells. And you had to be some special type of motherfucker to get in a cell, I guess. You had to be, you know, have the juice, been there a long time, or whatever the case may be. Anyways, without too much being said, man, they throw me and K9 in a cell just because they figured that we hold some type of weight with the Northside. Now, we were just regular. We weren't no better than anyone. We were just a little bit more aggressive, or had that look, I guess. So I remember getting celled up with them, and him having the F14 on his eye, okay, was very light. And so this Vato's over there doing something. He's got a staple. He's working on it. He's sharpening it. I'm like, damn, you're making a weapon? I'm ready, right? And he's like, Charlie, I want you to go tattoo over my F14 and make it bolder, make it darker. So I asked him why. I said, why? It's already there, bro. I could see it. He goes, nah, trip out. I want to eye bust everyone. See, there was a certain thing that was going on there, and I've spoke on it on my channel, Gunners Collective, before, that if Vatos hit us up at that time and we told them where we were from, it was an automatic rush. It was sort of like us disrespecting them. So this guy knew enough to know, like, fuck that, bro. I ain't going out like that. It is what it is, man. Let's get off where we're mad at. I want that F14 big and black and bold so everyone can see it. They already know where I rock. I rock as a Northside Fresno Bulldog, right? And so I said, all right, bam. I want a 14 then too. I was trying to be like Mike, right? And he went ahead and did the 14 on my eye. Very dark at that time. And then I redid the F14 on his eye, which was very light. And then it became bolder and colder for having the weight of the world on our shoulders, right? Bang, bang. That's how it was that day. And we got into several different things. Okay, fast forward to the day of the split. Okay, at this time, a riot had kicked off. There was something that had happened. And all the perros got moved to Taft housing, which was basically a lockup unit on the side of the box, the caja, which was the hoyo. And I didn't see Terry anymore. His name was Terry Ray, K9, you know. And I missed my homeboy because you understand that we used to rock solid together. Solid as a rock. Utterly, Ashford and Simpson, we were doing our thing. But the Vato was now functioning alongside the perros. And now we were adversaries to the perros, and they were adversaries to us. Okay, again, I respected their get down. I respected them as Norteños. I respected their cause and what they were about. But at the same time, man, when you're an enemiga, you got to get off where you're mad at. So there were several individual Bulldogs that would come on the yard and we would remove them, or vice versa. They would get off first, you know. It wasn't like it was a winning situation on either side. It was just a whole lot of fucking fighting and shit going down, okay, at this time. And this was in Nellis. I'm sure it was rocking in every other institution as well, but I can't speak on that because I wasn't there at that time. So Terry goes his own way. You know, K9 goes his own way. And I start to get a little bit of a backstory, because I start to inquire to other perros that I'm like, hey, you know your homeboy K9? Yeah, oh yeah. Okay, and so I guess, you know, K9 growing up on those mean streets of Fresno, those grimy streets of Fresno, he was just your average white dude, right? But he grew up in the neighborhood. And when you grow up in the neighborhood over there on the north side of Fresno, any part of Fresno or any city anyways, and you grow up around a lot of Chicanos, a lot of Mexicanos, you gravitate towards that stilo. Okay, not everybody, but for the most part, you're a product of your environment. And that's what it was in the city of Fresno. See, like 85 to 90% of Fresno are from the Bulldog gang, right? They're perro chatos, straight up and proud of it. They're down for their shit. And he was one of those like-minded individuals. He got in, he started hanging around with a vato named Kilo de Merced. Okay, now Kilo, let me explain. The wind's blowing, right? I already know. Kilo from Merced originally was from Merced. He had familia on Merced. I grew up in the same area with him and his brother. It was Mario and Michael, right? I'm not going to say their last name. They know who they are. And I remember Kilo ended up moving to Fresno to go live with familia for some reason or another. You know, you don't know what happened in one's life, and you don't know where the yellow brick road would take you. You just follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. And wherever you fucking end up, you could end up a cowardly lion or a motherfucker with no heart or a vato with no brains. You feel me? Either way, man, click your heels and you'll be back in Kansas one day. Toto. So anyways, this vato moves to Fresno, right to the north side, man. And him and K9 develop a good relationship. You know, they become taitas, they become boys, they become best friends. And I remember K9 used to always talk about him. He used to say, my best friend's from Merced, bro, but he's a perro. And I used to say, Charlie, homie, ain't no Bulldogs in Merced, but they got us fucked up. And this was even before the split. I was high side, right? He was like, shit, oh, you didn't know? You better ask somebody. I was like, what are they, Road Dog, Jesse James? So anyways, this is how it was. It ended up being true. And so the story goes that, they developed a good friendship. And of course, they got caught up in the gang environment around them, which were the Perros. This is when the push was real, man. Bulldog were starting to recruit a lot. I'm talking about early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, 89, 90, 91, and so on and so forth. And so he became a member, from Pleasant Street, which is the north side of Fresno. It's not as big of a clica as, say, College, or you got Calawar, or Bond Street, or RTLs, or you got Lewis Street, and several of these well-known. You got the whole Parkside, Chandler boys, but they're notorious. The north side of Fresno, Pleasant Street locals are notorious to hold their own and put it down, okay? And K9 is a reason for that. He's a legend from there, okay? The reason he's legendary from there is he was the first white Norteño Bulldog from the north side that was to be well known, okay? Because of his YA career, because of his prison career, because of the things that he did in his life, right? Now, of course, you sit here and you think to yourself, so ain't nothing to be proud about. It doesn't matter, man. When you're living that life, you're striving to achieve a certain status. You're striving to achieve the acknowledgement and the recognition that you so rightfully deserve for putting in all that work and earning your stripes. See, let me tell you about earning stripes, since the wind is blowing. When you're young and you're striving, or you're a gang member and you're out there, the number one thing that you want to do is earn respect. Pues having respect is even better. Orale, JD, right? Having respect, recognition and respect for the things that you've done, for the work that you have put in. Okay, if you're just a poop butt, you ain't nothing but a poop butt, right? That ain't really did anything. Yeah, you could be a homeboy, but at the same time, bro, motherfuckers know when it comes down to it, to get some jale on, they're not going to go pick you up. Sasuke, they're going to run your foot over and keep pushing. Okay, but if you're one of the hitters, if you're one of the known shooters, if you're one of the ones that is down to put in work, you've already been recognized as that, you've been respected as that, two things happen. One, get in the carro, vámonos a la verga, let's go, vato, we're going to handle business. Or two, motherfuckers don't want to go around you, bro, because they don't know if you got something for them. Bang, bang. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Okay, he was one of those individuals that was always down to get in the passenger seat. I got shotgun with the shotgun right down. A very recognized Bulldog. So let's fast forward again. As I moved to Carl Holton, okay, this is something I'll never forget with K9. This was the time when I was heartbroken. If you're watching this, I was heartbroken. I get to a compa, Mono. And I remember they had brought several individuals that day off the bus. I'd been there like maybe 6 months, and I was kind of wiggling. I had a good job. I was the grievance clerk. So I was when people used to write grievances, they bring it to me like, hey, the cop took my fucking book. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, oh yeah, he did? You know what I mean? Fuck that. That's gay. Stop telling. Right? And I'm chilling. So I had the cush job. Don't ask no questions. I won't tell you no lies. One of those jobs, I was getting paid for it. And Sasuke had a big ass stool in my room. And me and Shorty, the casitas, were posted like this. We were in there chilling. We got to see our anda cranca. We were doing our thing. And then they bring some perros on the bill. Now you got to understand, in Carl Holton, it was a little bit different. Okay, the perros still kind of rocked with the Norteños. Yes, there was separation there, but before I got there, it had already been established that they were going to be all right with each other. It wasn't going to be on site. If you had a problem, there was handball courts, corners, cells, school areas, places to wiggle. If you wanted to wiggle while you work, you could do your thing. But for the most part, man, we got along with a lot of the Bulldogs. I remember Pisto was there, Pepster, the homeboy Cisco Aguilar, just a lot of good righteous perros were there. So anyways, I remember K9 getting there. And there's a latrine area. And the latrine area, for those of you vatos that don't know what a latrine is, you ain't never been locked up, it's a bathroom, a restroom. Okay, and the makeup of this was there was toilets on one side, and of course everybody had their own toilets they used. I'm talking about as far as group segments. The Sureños and the whites used the second and the third. We used the first and the fourth for the 1-4, being Norteños, as well as the blacks. And then the last one was a pisser that the weirdos used, right? Straight up. Chirujos were on the last one, so that's good. They like pipa anyways. There you go. Ponle. The smell is there. So what happens was, the perros didn't have an established toilet, so they usually used ours. Okay, same thing for the pissers. There was 3 pissers. The Sureños and the whites used the third one. The Africanos used the second one. We used the first one. Again, the Chirus and all that, they had to go sit down on the toilet. They couldn't stand up and enjoy those reindeer games. Period. That's just how it was. And so K9 is actually pissing in the wrong toilet, right? He's there. He ended up on my compa, so I'm like, oh, cool. We had never had, and I had seen him from a distance. He was on the other side of the building, and I didn't want to put him on Front Street just going and getting at him in front of his homeboys. So I was going to wait till I caught him alone. So he's in the latrine area. I go in to take a liquiazo, and there he is, and he's pissing in the wrong toilet. So I kind of lean over, and I'm like, hey, bro, you're in the wrong toilet, right? And I'll never forget that day. He looked at me and he didn't even acknowledge me, and he just kept on pissing. He pissed all over the toilet. I was like, I'm gonna bomb on this motherfucker, right? But I had enough respect to remember all the good times, all the war stories, all the times we shared fighting back to back, man, all the toil and the soil that we did, the 10 toes down, the blood, you know what I mean? That we sacrificed for the cause, and that we sacrificed for our safety and security and for our well-being. And that was the reasoning behind me not fucking doing a fucking Holyfield on him or a Tyson and biting his earlobe off, right? But I remember telling him, hey, man, you're pissing in the wrong toilet. He didn't even acknowledge me. And I remember thinking some type of way like, damn, it's come to that point, bro, where we were once boys, cellies, homeboys, man. Oh, how the world has changed. But then as I got older and I got out of YA, you know, he ended up moving to a different compa about a month later. And then they ended up shipping him to a different place, and our paths didn't cross anymore. But I remember as getting older, in retrospect, looking back on an individual like him, because he comes to mind every once in a while. You know, that's why I've mentioned him in my stories. He was a real one, you know, and continues to be. I remember thinking to myself, he did the right thing. He was a real gang member at that time. You understand? It wasn't about the disrespect. It wasn't about that. You know, at that time, his people had chose to break off, and he broke off wholeheartedly. See, he wasn't half-stepping. There was a lot of individuals that were half-stepping. So scared, nah, fuck that, we're not Norteños. Hey, but said, hey, you get a visita, they're cool with you and shit. You know what I mean? Nah, he was a real one. He was like, I'm a bulldog, and that's it. This is dogs. I ain't even talking to you vatos anymore. He felt like we turned our backs on him. You know, and I could understand. You know what I mean? So imagine having a 14 on your eye, so scared, and you're not claiming that no more. Just taking a gas all mad and shit. Fucking custers, right? This was how his feelings were. And I respected that. I didn't respect the fact that he was disrespectful. I respected the fact, man, that he was down for his, and he was a true believer in his cause. Whether it wasn't identifying with mine and we weren't on that same level, it doesn't matter. I respect a person for being a gangster for what they truly believe in. Now, I don't respect gangsters and gang members and all that saying per se because they're gangsters, right? But I respect someone that's going to do anything in life and do it to the fullest and do it righteous. That's it. That's real. That's real talk, real life. You can't do nothing but respect it or get checked by it. So anyways, growing up, you know, we don't cross paths no more. And I start hearing from a lot of perros because I got a lot of contact with them. You know, as I got older and I became non-active in the game, I'm not no longer rocking a narrative for the North, or I'm not no longer rocking a narrative for any type of gang activity. That's just not me. I'm not hating on it, but I'm not part of it, you know? So I'm not participating in the reindeer games like Rudolph. So I can't call it like an alcoholic, but what I can say is I started to inquire to other perros about Terry Ray, man, about my homeboy K9. Yes, I call him my homeboy because I feel deep down inside, man, I'm going to keep it real. He was always a homeboy of mine, irregardless of how he felt, right? You know, once you're a homeboy of mine, you're always going to be a homeboy of mine unless you turn weirdo. And then I got to cut you off. You know what I mean? Like the Jaina Lorena Bobby did that dude's beatbox. So Trip. I started to ask about him, and I found out that, yeah, he did some prison time, man. And he's always been true to his form, always been true to his thing. Nothing too outlandish, you know, but he is legendary in the city of Fresno. He is well respected. You know, that man got out and chose to be a family man and take care of his familia. He's still good in the hood, still activated, still able to go around, give flecha to the youngsters. One of those type of individuals that left in good standing. He's not necessarily left because he didn't need to walk away from nothing, but just still is posted in the hood, still doing his thing, still taking care of his family. And for that, I say the ultimate respects, carnal. You know what I mean? You did what you said you were going to do. Hey, you toiled in that soil, you fought for what you believed in, and you continue to stay true for yours. And for that, K9 de Fresno is a legend on my mind, right? And it's someone's name I wanted to put out there, and someone who I wanted to put a picture to the name. Okay, so that vato you're seeing right there in the thumbnail, that's him. Okay, a very well-respected perro. Now, a lot of people expect when they see bulldogs, they think, oh, tattoos all over and, you know what I mean? He never was that individual to bark at you, but he was quick to bite at you. And for that, I'll always remember him. K9 de Fresno, a real soldado, man. This is just a lightweight profile, so you guys can get to know some of the intricacies and some of the details and some of the stories that happened between me and that vato, you know, that I know personally. With that being said, man, I hope that you guys go out there and move fast with a purpose. I hope that you guys get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, these are not to profile these individuals as gang members and gangsters and, oh, look at, you should admonish them and respect them because they're gangster. No, it's just a story of true individuals that really had a true belief in their belief system, and they did what they had to do to the fullest, you know? And some of these stories and these profiles I give you are about some vatos that didn't. Either way, man, it's just something to hear and something to learn on and something to absorb. You're never too old for education. You know, it is what it is. Bang, bang. Hit that like and subscribe if you like Gunners Profiles. Don't ever forget about Gunners Collective. We're boom bangling over there, making it happen. You know what I mean? The shit don't stop till the panties drop. Bajatangas, vatos. And in that fashion, right? Or you can hit that thumbs down, heavy as the head that wears that bull's crown. You already know what it is. The Gunners Profiles. Man, we're keeping it popping around this camp, huh? Orale.